everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching the previous videos, and we also welcome you to keep watching and subscribing to our new videos. Today we are having with us one of our psychologists called Beryl. Beryl is going to take us through a lot of mental health talks today, especially regarding depression and suicide, their causes, risk factors, and management. Thank you so much and welcome, and stay tuned. Hi Beryl.
Hi, thank you so much.
Please say hi to our viewers and let's continue.
Hi, my name is Beryl Njoki. I am a psychologist by profession, and I am so happy to be here today to talk about depression, its relation to suicide, and how you can actually live a healthy life managing depression, or even living off of it completely. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to start off, Beryl, do you mind giving us an overview of what depression is, and maybe you tell us of its symptoms in a broad perspective, and the risk factors and the causations as well?
Oh, okay. Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so we can begin by defining depression. Depression, the thing about depression is everyone has had the term depression. Some people say I feel depressed. So we're going to say that depression is not an emotion. You cannot say I feel depressed, I woke up today and I feel depressed. No, because depression is a mental illness. So depression is a mental illness that is characterized under mood disorders because it affects your general mood. So it's characterized by feeling the symptoms, as she was saying, are, you're going to have to note them down if you can, because after the is it a session? Can you call it a session?
Yes.
You can actually now sit down and see, am I depressed, using the symptoms I will have talked about. So we can begin with low moods, very low moods. So that's one sign that you need to look out for. Another one is change in appetite. So it's either an increase in appetite or a decrease in appetite. Another one is change in sleeping patterns. So maybe you're sleeping too much, you're sleeping too little. So unapata hata mchana you're just there sleeping, you're just maybe just dozing off. It can be extreme fatigue, but it can also be a symptom to use to check if you're having depression. I have mentioned fatigue, so excessive fatigue or excess fatigue is also a symptom of depression. And then lack of interest in things you used to enjoy before. If you used to love playing football, you now no longer feel like going to the field. What else? You used to love cooking, now you're not interested anymore. That is also a sign you need to look out for. Another thing is poor concentration. So your concentration is very, very poor. So you cannot maybe stay on a task for more than I don't want to give it minutes, but how you used to concentrate before, it's been affected. Another thing has to be isolation. Isolation. You just want to stay alone. You just want to be in your room. You locked your room the whole day, and you just don't want to have interactions with people. So that's also a sign you need to look out for. And is there any I am forgetting?
Not really. You've actually exhausted almost the very major symptoms of depression. And to the extreme, we have people also suffering to an extent they can't even bathe. So there's that self-neglect and all that. But you've exhausted quite a number.
Now we're also going to talk about the other major ones, which is self-harm. You now get to a point you're self-harming, so you've locked yourself in your room, you're cutting yourself and things like that, which will also lead to suicidal ideations or just thinking about death. So you're like, what if I died today? Would I end this pain that I am feeling? Would I go to a better place? And things like that. So now we also get to self-harm and suicide ideations, or even actual suicide. What is it called? Suicide ideations and suicide act. The suicide act itself. Yes, the suicide act itself. So out of those symptoms I have mentioned, if you have experienced 5 or more of these symptoms for a period of 2 weeks, then you need to go to a doctor or a psychiatrist or psychologist, so they can actually see that see if you can be diagnosed with, if you are suffering from depression, because those are symptoms of depression. And if we usually say if something has exceeded 2 weeks, then you need to go and get checked. So you can go to a general practitioner, just go to hospital and you'll be assisted from there. So one thing about depression is depression from the definition, it's a mood disorder that's characterized by the symptoms we've discussed. But from the patients or clients I have interacted with, I can just have a very simple definition for depression. Depression is just being in a state where you feel stuck. It's like an endless pit. You don't think you're going to, there's even light anywhere. You look around, there's no light. And you're numb to everything, yet there is pain everywhere in you. So you're numb, but there is pain. You're experiencing a lot of pain that you're even numb to it. So if I can use the descriptions my patients and people I've interacted with have given me, it's just darkness all over that you cannot even explain. So when someone says I am feeling depressed, it's not an emotion, and you cannot say I'm feeling depressed the same way you cannot say I am feeling malaria, I am feeling TB. No, you have to go and get diagnosed. Yes, so that's why we say clinical depression, because it's something that has been diagnosed now.
It has been certified that you are truly suffering from the condition. So we've got a number of people who are actually in that depressive state, but then seeking professional help has become a thing that they don't want to hear. Why do you think people are so hesitant about going to hospitals when they are truly suffering depression?
Okay, actually studies have shown that it can take an average adult up to 10 years before they seek for help. And mostly depression, because depression is really silent. I'd say it's one of these silent disorders that we have. That's why we have high functioning depression, if you've heard of the term. High functioning depression is someone who will go to work, go to club, meet with friends, party, live a very good life, but behind closed doors, they're crying themselves to sleep. They're not happy. They are in a lot of pain, and they're in that state where they feel like there's no hope, yet when they leave their doors, they are expressing all hope is there. That's high functioning depression. So now such kinds of people, or such people, one is already they've shown everyone that they are okay. So they ask themselves, sasa mimi nikitoka nje niseme siko sawa. They see me, I am okay, I am driving big cars, or I am living a good life. I am the one always happy, smiling, laughing with people. So it's because depression is an illness that's characterized by, unless you're very keen, you will not notice that the person sitting next to you is suffering from depression, because it's not like other illnesses where someone will be manic, like someone will shout, someone will scream, someone will start beating other people. No, depression is very silent. That's why it takes years for people to even own up that, by the way, I am actually not okay, and I need help.
Okay. So at what point do you think now they are pressed so much to the wall and now they can come out? At what point? Is it at the point that they've now started contemplating a suicidal ideation, contemplating suicide, and they are seeing that they are maybe going to endanger their lives or the lives of other people? Is it at that point that they now feel that we now need to seek medical or psychological assistance, or at what point exactly do they tend to come out in most cases?
Okay, so most cases when someone comes out, or when someone now gets to the end of the road, or they are pushed to the wall completely, is when someone actually realizes that I am not in a place where I want to be, so I think I want to be at that place where I want to be, so I need to go and seek for help, so I can be at that like place that I want to be. For example, I feel like when someone really now wakes up and says, okay, today I will go to the doctor, is when they feel I am actually suffering in this state more than I will suffer when I go to the doctor and seek for help. And most of the time it's also when they have a very supportive, family, friends and things like that, because people with depression rarely walk to to you and say, I'm depressed, help me.
Yeah.
Rarely. The same way someone who's experiencing suicide or suicidal thoughts and things like that, rarely will they come and tell you, but they can have signs like watching dark things on TV, 100 Ways to Die, you know, films like that, dark books like give me titles of books.
I don't know the dark books because I rarely read dark books.
Yeah, so they will be experiencing things like that, especially teenagers. So they're listening to very sad music or just, you know, very weird stuff that, or even on TikTok, when you go to their search, it's very dark stuff like, I tried killing myself, I couldn't. And one thing about social media is, for example, TikTok, it has analytics that will see what do you watch more, what is it fashion. Now for people experiencing depression, that's a sad bit. They will scroll sad things. When you're feeling sad, what do you scroll when you're sad? Sad things, yeah? So they will be on TikTok looking for sad, dark material, and the recommendations they will get is still sad material. At the end of the day, they will even be searching for stuff that will just, you know, how can I, even Google, you go to their Google search, it's things like, they won't tell you, but can rat poison kill me? Things like that. How long will it take before, how fast will it kill me? You know, will I suffer? Will I feel pain? These things people search for them online.
Sadly.
So someone won't come and tell you, by day me, I want to die today. No, it's always in silence and things like that. So when someone gets to that point where they feel I need that help, it's a willpower. It's something that, you know, just comes from within. Yes. But most of the time it's very supportive families. They have very supportive, even when they go to hospital, the people there are very supportive. They, you know, they're not judgmental, and they are very willing to help them. Even in school, I say they have very supportive teachers who can notice this person is isolating themselves. But because most of the time it will not be out of their
own will.
It's the environment also around them that will encourage them. So can be social media encouraging them, just, you know, be great today, you're awesome, life needs you, you know, things like that. So it can be anything influencing them to just seek for help, but most of the time it's like inner willpower.
So you've talked about these people who go out, party, come back, lock themselves, and they start feeling that bit of worthlessness, self-worthlessness. Does it mean that these people are living a lie? Because I would say that level of pretense leaves people the void of not actually coming to your aid when you need it most. Why not be that extroverted, but at the same time find at least one person to confide in and tell them that I'm going through something, but I just want to do this to cheer myself up. You know, at least someone can read something in between the line. But if you just extroverted, go partying, go hyping with your friends and all, do drinks, come back to the house, and you're back to the square one from where you'd left, then I think that's killing so many of us, because currently we have so many suicidal cases, and the major contributor to suicide, we know, it's depression that has taken too long, unresolved issues and all that. So why the pretense? Is it to please friends, or is it to conform, or at least feel the sense of belonging to these friends? What exactly are they trying to portray? Like, what is their intention when they're doing this?
I can actually say most of this, like in this day and age, even after Corona, you know, COVID brought a lot of anxiety, stress.
Yes.
It brought a lot also. It brought a lot of depression.
Yes.
So a lot of these people, high functioning depression, people with high functioning depression, are people just trying to see tomorrow and just trying to assure themselves that I think I can do this.
It's gonna be fine.
It's going to be fine. So after you wake up, umemaliza kulia, you wake up and go out of the door. But you know, the thing is, yes, it's going to be fine, but you need help.
Yeah.
Because now that's actually depression. It's just that it's not been diagnosed by a practitioner, but it's depression.
Yeah.
So it's for me, I think people with high functioning depression is, to me, they are hopeful people. Okay, not hopeful in that sense, but they're people who just, want to see what tomorrow has to offer. There can be a sense of pretense, as you said, because why are you laughing from here to here outside, but in your house you're depressed, you're really, really sad. It's a pretense, it's some form of pretense, but at the end of the day, I think these are people who are just trying to see what tomorrow has to offer. So nitalia usiku but kesho nitaamka niende job, but you see now they need help. So at the end of the day, yes, it can be pretense, but I think for them that's a coping mechanism. Yes, it's a coping mechanism to deal with whatever they're going through. For example, COVID, a lot of parents lost their jobs and all those things, and they were depressed. Let me tell you, there was a period parents and people providing were suffered is during COVID. We experienced a lot of stress, anxiety, isolation. You're being laid off. You're not going to school for like a period of 8 months. So during that time, it started in phases. The first phase, you're like just stressed, so you're like, okay, things will get back to normal. Then there's a second wave, which is even worse. Now high levels of stress, anxiety, and it now got to a point where someone is actually depressed. Yes, they didn't go to the hospital and get clinically diagnosed, but they were now living with depression. Can be knowingly or unknowingly, but people were now high functioning with depression, so high functioning depression. And most parents actually, or people providing for like their kids and things like that, actually witnessed high functioning depression. How you ask? You have 3 kids at home. Both of them need food. Some kids were started like learning online. You have bills, you have house to maybe rent and things. You had a lot of bills. COVID did not stop the paying of bills. True. Now both of you don't have a source of income, or even in this case a single parent doesn't have a source of income. How do you think the mind of that parent is? How fast is it racing? She's waking up and just asking herself, stima imekatwa leo, kesho ni maji hatuna, the other day ni chakula hatuna. So do you see how now parents were living with depression and functioning with it? So asubuhi wakiamka, they're trying to show their kids, things will be fine, things will be alright, but
they have to act.
Yes, they were acting. So in as much you can call it pretense, you can call it a coping mechanism, but at the end of the day, this is something people actually do because they just want to get through with that day. So you will go out there, you laugh with other women in the market and things like that. You will even share your problems, but at the end of the day, you're having these symptoms of depression. You're low, you're not eating, maybe lack of appetite, loss of interest and things like that. So even when you're going to play, you're not enjoying, you're pretending because the interest is not there, but you have to keep on doing it because you want to function with the condition you're in.
So the reason I called it pretense because normally someone who's depressed cannot actually pretend. So I wanted to get your view on this the functionality of this person who's going through depression but then still has to come out and just look fine like any other person on a daily basis. So I would say they act, and they don't act, and the acting is not even created by themselves. Like it's not an initiative that they're not doing it consciously. They are doing it quite unconsciously because to them people have to see that life is just fine. Like we have to move regardless.
Maybe use people as your kids.
Your
kids
maybe this is family and they're younger, you can't explain nothing to them, so you have to move regardless. Things have to just be fine. Which is okay sometimes, but at least
what I usually say is at the end of the day, there's only how much you can act. The same way there's only too much you can, or how far you can go in pretending. So to get to a point that this high functioning now people dealing with depression also get to the end of the line, they also get to the end of the game. So you find a musician, let's say these popular musicians you guys know, probably I won't mention names, but these famous people, you're like, we were shooting a movie with that person yesterday, and how did that person commit suicide?
He died.
It's high functioning depression. So they were just trying until they got to a point they couldn't try anymore. Yes, the high functioning now, it couldn't work anymore.
That got to its limit.
It got to its limit, yes. Right. So you find, you even know maybe the CEOs who are dealing with high functioning depression.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure, but they are the CEOs, they have to be there.
Yeah.
So they won't stay at home and sleep like a person, a normal person experiencing depression who will be in the room sleeping. No, this person will wake up and go to work.
Yeah.
Dress up, wear a suit, look nice. So I will say it's a coping mechanism that I wouldn't call it a bad coping mechanism. The thing is, I would encourage anyone having maybe high functioning depression to just go to the hospital. At least you're someone who's hopeful, at least you're someone who has a little bit of, positivity, because you can wake up and make other people happy. That's a good thing. So by seeking help, you're actually making the whole situation better compared to now these other people who cannot even bathe, as you're saying, they cannot cook, they will neglect their children, they don't care. So I think at the end of the day, there's a big difference between the two people, because a person functioning highly with it can easily be assisted, can easily get help. But another thing is seeking for help. That's now the problem we experience.
It's a big challenge. I think, and especially when now people come to realize that they have to really walk into a mental health facility, they feel stigmatized even before they go there. And I'm currently having some people who have actually refused completely to access help. They have refused. So I don't know how best can we convince these people that seeking medical advice or seeking professional advice is just the only way to start off living better, like the way they used to live before. Because you find that someone who is suicidal, they are trying like so many times to commit suicide. They've tried so many times to commit suicide, and you get to a point that somebody does some self-injury on themselves, and the parents still come out to ask, how do we go about it? You'll tell them how to go about it, but then still they become hesitant. How do we help? Is it because there's no enough mental health awareness that's making people still feel so much stigmatized of walking into the facilities to seek help, or what exactly is happening?
I think one, it's the stigma. The stigma surrounding mental health is we've still not even, we're not there. We're not even almost there in breaking the stigma, because at the end of the day, if you break your ankle or leg, people will rush you to hospital. People will rush you hata kwa mgongo kukimbiza hospitali, si ndio? Because there's blood trickling from your wound, or you cannot walk.
They're seeing something.
Now the thing about mental illnesses is you cannot, unless it's the ones that are very severe, the ones that have very outward symptoms. Mental illnesses are just that you can't see them. They're in the head. So one thing that people tend to do is when you cannot see blood and when you cannot see the intensity of the illness,
the pain,
you tend to si itaisha. Sasa wewe umekuwa ukilia kila saa, hiyo ni ugonjwa gani unalia hapa kila saa? You can't see the blood. It's depression making you cry all the time. You're very sad. So I think it's one, breaking the stigma, because once people are able to understand what mental illnesses are all about, then they can be able to advocate for mental health and advocate for help, and also in how we start these conversations surrounding someone's illness. For example, you realize from the symptoms, this person, then my friend is experiencing depression. How do you start the conversation? For example, one thing we encourage people is don't be judgmental. Even the tone you're using, use a very friendly and very low tone. A tone can be sasa mbona unalia, and a tone can be what is making you cry. When you're very high, someone will tend to feel
they feel scared. They withdraw further, and they don't open up.
Most parents will start shouting at you. Sasa wewe unashinda umejifungia kwa room yako, that such things. And also learning how to use what questions, how instead of why. Why comes out very judgmental. Don't ask someone why do you want to commit suicide, or sorry. We usually say these days, we don't say commit because of the stigma. We say, why do you want to take your life? So you don't say why, you say what is making you feel like taking your life, what is making you harm yourself, what are you feeling that's making you feel that you want to take your own life. Questions like, avoid questions that have why, they come off very judgmental, and avoid using very loud tones, and also avoid using your instances. Unajua hata mimi last week nilikuwa mgonjwa, I was so sick last week, I was feeling depressed. No, don't do that. Avoid using your own personal experiences when it comes to addressing that person, because they will not be the same, and they can never be the same. Yeah, so don't start saying, I also lost my parent, I feel your pain. At that point, it's not about comparison and making trying to compare instances. It's about that person and making sure that whatever you're telling them will not even accelerate their suicidal ideations.
Okay.
So
then how best... Okay, there are these instances where people have come out to blame their parents, having contributed to their worst state of mental health, in the sense that okay, now let me narrow this down to the African parent, because an African parent, you want to commit suicide, and someone, maybe a sibling, comes and tells you that my mom or dad so and so wants to commit suicide, or so and so
told me.
Yes, or so and so has climbed up the roof and is about to throw themselves, and you hear a parent responding like, let her just kill herself, or let him just kill himself. After all, there's so much bills to be paid. How do you tell such parents? Like, how do we train such parents, or how do we educate such parents to come out of this, let me call it Africanism, because it becomes so inhuman when you're not scared, like you're not even shocked, you're not even surprised that you're told your child is about to throw themselves off the roof. You're just like, let them throw themselves. After all, I'm so tired of that child. How do you think that augurs with the current upbringing of our children?
That's first, to begin with, it's a very sad thing, because it's something that's really happening. It happens every day. A parent brings in a child, and the child tells you, but then my parent told me this and this and this and this. I think, one, we understand parents are going through a lot. They have a lot. A parent has more than 10 things running around, making rounds in their minds, and we understand that and we respect that. But at the end of the day, you also have a responsibility, and your child is your responsibility. So among all the responsibilities, a child
is just one of them.
Fortunately or unfortunately, is one of the responsibilities you have for the rest of your life. And one thing I usually tell parents is the words parents use, do you know they have so much power than just a woman sitting down and tells you, you ugly. You will be like, no, who are you telling me?
Who are you to tell me that?
But if your mother tells you you're ugly, do you know you'll carry that thing for the rest of your life? Regardless, you might be the most beautiful person, but you will carry it with you for the rest of your life. So it's that parents should understand the role they have to play in their children's lives, and how important and significant that role is. So if someone comes and tells you, my sister has told me they want to do 1, 2, 3, do not make a comment that will make that child be in a worse state than they were even before. As a parent, try to understand them. Probably use the small sibling to be a mediator. Go and tell the sibling, okay, go and ask her what's making her feel that way. Now you can understand, even to go and seek for help. Because now the child is under you. You can just tell the child, you need to go to hospital. I have realized you're not okay. And that's one thing that parents don't understand. When you approach your child with love, and you approach your child with understanding, children are able to come out. They're able to tell you, by the way, I have been harassed. I have been harassed by, can you say maybe the help? That's why I feel like taking my life. That's why I'm depressed. But now when parents do not talk to their kids, things happen under their own roofs that they are not even aware of. So they get to learn about them when it's so late. There's nothing that can be done.
Sad.
So very sad, but it's happening. It's the sad reality. And parents also need to understand, we live in an era or in an age that's not like when they were brought up. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of a kid who's like 10 can tell me a lot of things I don't even know about.
True.
You having a lot of conversation and you're like, okay. They are very well they're very well fast-paced. We live in a fast-paced world, so we are also having very fast-paced kids, and we need to keep up with them by talking to them, understanding where they're coming from, understanding and hearing the things they're saying. So you also get to learn that, oh, my child actually has a problem. Nimesikia akimention hiki tu. Halalangi usiku anakuanga akicheza PS. Can be a problem. Why are they not sleeping? You know, you need to go and take them to the doctor. Aonekane mbona halali. We see things like that. Because you see also lack of sleep can lead to heightened anxiety during the day, because you see your mind is not rested, and these things also lead to depression and suicide and things like that. So so it's about a parent just being intentional and present.
Parents should be intentional about their children's upbringing. And I think that's a very catchy point, that a child's upbringing is not just something that you brush aside, like, and or make it a duty like other household duties. That, like, it has to be special in a way. It should be different. And in that case, how about we talk about how best do you think we can create mental health awareness among our communities? Because in as much as we are doing all this in the cameras, in the facilities where we work, how best do you think we can penetrate the communities so that these people can come out, or these people can embrace that, like any other diseases out there, mental illnesses can be managed, and maybe some are treatable and all that. How best can people come to a common understanding that this thing is there with us, and we have no choice but to live with it and embrace it and seek medical assistance whenever necessary? Because there's so many people suffering, baby. There's so many people suffering, but apparently whatever we have, whatever number we have currently of people seeking mental health assistance, I think it's hardly it's hardly a quarter of those suffering from it.
And even it's hardly well documented as well. Statistics are not, because, you know, for example, for like depression, it's like one of the most common mental illnesses. 1 out of 4 people. So imagine in a room like this one, 1 out of 4 people, for example, you're 20, 1 out of 4 is experiencing depression. So how many people in the room are experiencing depression?
Imagine.
In a matatu, uko kwa matatu, or in a bus. A bus has like, is it 30 people? 1 out of 4 is experiencing depression. So it makes you ask yourself, even in a school that has 2,000 kids, how many people in that school has depression? In a place like a church, in a place like a mosque, you've gone to maybe have fun, swim and do things like that. In that place, 1 out of 4 is experiencing depression.
You're going too far.
I'm not going
in
too
the
far.
hospitals where we people work.
Okay.
The depression is even higher in those facilities.
Even in workplaces. What I'm trying to tell you is, anywhere you go, let's even say at where you buy your fries, the local place you buy your fries. You're there, you're like maybe 4-6 people. 1 out of 4 people there is having depression. It's telling us that everywhere, even when you're crossing the road, everywhere, that person might be experiencing depression. And to begin with, we have to start changing the narrative. We have to first be kind. We as human beings, you have to be okay for you to also help and ensure that, and for me, it's all about kindness. It's all about you being okay first, so you can also pass on and be an agent of change or an effect of change to other people or to the people around you. Because, for example, I might be experiencing depression. I will not be able to help the people around me.
True.
I might, for example, the person in school, we have bullies. Bullies also are a big contribution to depression and kids committing suicide as well. And especially abroad you hear these bullying stories, and these things are very real. These people push these kids to a point of no return. A 10-year-old, 9 will commit suicide because the bullies have bullied him or her too much. So it's all about being kind. It's us being raised in kindness and in understanding that we have to be good to ourselves first, self-care, so we can be able to take care of other people. You can be able to say, I have 200 shillings in my pocket. Can I share 100 bob of buy something, food, and give it to this person? So that's one way of changing the narrative on mental health. Because I can come here and see you crying, but do you know what I tell you and how I engage with you is what will make you stop crying or even continue. You might be in a matatu, the person sitting next to you is crying, literally sobbing. You might not be able to do a lot, but just talking to them and making them understand that it's okay to cry and it's okay to release how you're feeling, and that will make you feel worthless regardless of the thing you're going through. So it's kindness, one. Two, also making sure that mental health is in every room. The mental health conversation is in every room. It's everywhere. For me, most of the time, because my friends will know I do mental health stuff, I'm a mental health advocate, this conversation will just start. So I have been having maybe this issue, or this person has been, so I normally don't choose, or I don't stop. It's like I carry on with me the mental health narrative everywhere I go, be it church, be it at a wedding, be it at a rush, everywhere I will make sure that people there are okay. I will ask them, are you okay? That narrative, and when they ask me questions, I will not say, we're at a wedding, don't ask me those serious questions. I will tell them, get a seat, let's have this conversation right now.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So it's at the end of the day not having limits to where this conversation can go. It's having the conversation everywhere. Schools, weddings, everywhere. Name it. That place you're going to buy fries, start the conversation there. You'll be surprised. Those people that day, they will have had maybe you want to pass along the message of depression, suicide, anything you want to talk about, maybe bipolar. That person realizes, I have a bipolar child at home. They didn't know. At the end of the day, when you're educated and when you're privileged, be an agent of change to other people. Because to you it might be obvious when you see a person suffering from autism. To us it might be obvious, but to another person, they do not know what that is. Yeah. So I think for me, those two major things, we just need to stop talking about it and now start acting on it. Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Beryl, for your contribution. That was so awesome. That's really awesome, and I hope quite a number of people are going to get help through this information, because we're looking forward to giving you more and more information about depression. Now, next time we're going to handle mental health and depression, specifically among teenagers. Yes. So we're going to be very specific. Coming downwards, we're going to handle mental health among teenagers, mental health among adults, and specifically mental health among children, mental health among the married couple, mental health among single mothers or single fathers. And we are going to cover like almost every sector in our community, and I hope that people get help through this, as we also try as much as possible to penetrate the communities as like physically, because we don't want just to end up in the cameras. We are trying as much to penetrate the community physically, so that we give this kind of health talks, especially to those people who do not have the gadgets to maybe watch and get help. So thank you so much for staying tuned, and keep watching, keep subscribing, and keep sharing. So thank you, Beryl, for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.